Alright, so hello and welcome. In this After Effects tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can create a ball bounce. So this is what we are going to be doing today. And we are going to be working with the keyframes, but also we are going to be working in the graph editor. And I'm going to show you how you can create keyframes in the graph editor, how later on you can move these keyframes, move this graph. I will try to explain to you how the graph works, how you can zoom in the graph, and many other stuff. So hopefully you are looking forward. I try to explain all of the stuff like if you are beginner, so I believe that you are going to be able to follow along, even though if you never been in the graph editor in the After Effects. So see you in the tutorial. Alright, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create new composition, and I can go with 920 by 1080 and the duration really doesn't matter. So I will hit OK. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I will create some background. So I will go to the layer, new, solid, and I'm going to call this to be BG, and I'm going to hit OK. The next thing that I want to do is create a ball. So make sure that your BG is not selected. Actually, I'm going to lock my background and I'm going to create an ellipse like so. And I'm going to draw an ellipse with my shift, so it is going to be proportional. The next thing that I want to do is click on the ellipse and adjust the anchor point. Because right now it is in here and I would like to have my anchor point in the middle. So I am going to hit Y. It is this one, pen behind tool, anchor point tool, and I am going to move it. And if I am going to hold Ctrl, I am able to snap to the right or to the middle or to the corner like so. Alright, so the next thing that I want to do is go to my shape. I will hit enter. I will call this ball, and actually let me change the color a little bit. So it is going to be maybe blue like this. Alright, and now what I want to do is click on the position, and you can right click on the position and you can choose separate dimension. Okay, so I will zoom in, separate dimension like this, and click this one. And right now we have X position and Y position. And separating dimension on the position is essential when you want to animate something like a bounce ball. Okay, so you can do something like this. And right now what I can do is click on my Y position and like create a keyframe. And now what I want to do is with my shift and page down, I can go maybe 20 frames. Let me zoom in on my timeline a little bit so you can see. So I was in here, and with my shift and page down, I went 20 frames, and I'm going to position this down like so. Alright. And now what I want to do is go ahead and go maybe to position 40, or go 40 frames to the right, and create a keyframe. And right now I'm going to show you two different ways how you can do this. The first one that I'm going to show you is maybe a little bit more complicated, but it's better. And the second one is maybe easier, but worse. So the first thing that I want to do is I have these two, or I have these three keyframes. This keyframe, and this is the keyframe which is the same as this one. And what I can do is highlight them, hit F9. This is just going to make them easiest. And I can go in the graph editor. So I will zoom in so you can see. So this one, graph editor, I am going to click this. I'm going to unzoom, and right now we are in this graph editor. And maybe some of you have never used the graph editor like this. So it is this little icon. Okay, and the next one is this one. Fit all graphs to view. Again, I will zoom in a little bit. So this one, if I click this, this is going to fit my graph to the view like so. But you can go ahead and zoom out, zoom in, move in here. If you are lost, just go to the beginning and so on. And right now, with the ball bounce, what is important is the change of the speed of the animation. Because actually, I am going to make my keyframes linear temporarily again. So I am going to highlight them, and I will click with Control or on the make command, probably on them, and they are again going to be linear, which means that I am going to have the straight line like so. And right now what I can do is highlight my keyframes, and I can either highlight them in this graph editor, or I can go outside of the graph editor and highlight them like the normal keyframes. But nevertheless, if I highlight them like so, and I'm going to hit F9, this part is going to change. This is not going to be changing because there is no movement yet. But this means that for some of you that don't know, this is easy ease, and it means that it is going to go slowly at the beginning, faster at the middle, and again slowly at the end. Okay, so it will start slowly, and maybe you can see it, maybe not, but it is going slowly, then it is faster, and again it is slower. And when we have a ball or anything that is falling from the sky or falling from wherever, the basic principle is that it is going to be accelerating while it is going to be falling down. So at the beginning, if I have, for example, tennis ball in my head, and I'm going in my hand, not in my head, in my hand, and I'm going to drop it, the animation is going to be, it will start like slowly, and every second it is going to accelerate and until it will hit the ground. So on my graph editor, I'm going to do something like this. So we are going to start slowly, and we are going to hit the ground with the highest speed that we had. And basically, here it is like slowly, faster, and the more this graph is going up, the faster the movement is. And for example, one thing that I can show you right now is that from the left to the right, we have the time, like we have 0 frames up to 20 frames. And from the bottom to the top, we have how many pixels we have moved. Okay, and you can see that at the beginning we are on the 414. I can actually go ahead and change this to 400 like so. So we are starting on the 400, and then we will go to the 826. Okay, because the Y position is like on the top is 0, and on the bottom is like the higher number, like so. Just you can understand this. But I will go back one more time. So we will start on the 400. And the point that I wanted to say is like at the 10th frame, this is like the middle of the animation, middle of the time, we have moved from 400 to only 500. So we have moved in the half time of the animation only 100 pixels, okay, from the initial position. So from here to here, we have moved this very little part, okay? And then from the 10th frame, because this is faster, we have moved from 500 up to 800 and something. So in the first half, we moved only 100 frames, 100 pixels, and in the second part, we moved like 300 and something. Okay, maybe some of you understand this and do not need any of more explanation, but I just want to make sure that everybody who is watching can understand this. Okay, and right now, this is the part where we are going to be creating the bounce. So I will highlight this, and you can see that we have this handle in here, and I can go ahead and without holding anything, I can make the handle like so. Okay, and I can do the same thing with this one, like so. And I can create an animation where my ball is going to fall down, and when it falls down in the high speed, it is going to bounce back again with the high speed. But that's why this is going to, even though it is going to go down, it is going to fast, and then on the top it is going to slow down. In here, basically, it is almost there is almost no movement. And again, it is going to fall down like so. All right. So right now, few things. The first thing is that this handle, if I am going to hold Alt, I am going to have this one and this one connected. So I will hold Alt, and right now you can see that they are connected. Okay. So I will go back, and now, if I don't hold Alt, they are not going to be connected. But the thing is that sometimes, because the Alt is like the toggle between these handles being connected and not being connected. So sometimes it is going to happen that you are going to move this without holding Alt or Option, and it is going to be moving only one part. And sometimes you are going to be moving this without Alt, and it is going to be connected. So in that case, you would go back and hold it with Alt and so on. Hopefully it makes sense. I will later on explain one more time. But the basic principle is that angle. Imagine that I will go from my keyframe to the bottom, and the triangle, this triangle, should have the same angle as this triangle. Okay, so I do not want one of my handle to be like this and one of them to be like this. I want them to be like to have the same angle in between this point. Okay, I don't want it like this. I don't want it like this. I want this one to be the similar and this one. Okay, and also I want this one to have approximately same length as this one. So I don't want to make it like so, because it would be unnatural. And also I don't want this to be like this or like this. Approximately, it doesn't need to be perfect, but I can see that I have started in here and there is a little bit space, and I would like to have this space and this space the same almost, and this space and this space almost the same. And if there is like few millimeters difference, it absolutely doesn't matter. But if I would have it like so, it wouldn't look nice. Okay, and now I can go ahead and play this, and we have something like this. Okay, and if I go ahead and make this like so and like so, my ball is essentially will go higher. Okay, but I do not want to make the ball go higher as it was in the previous case, because it's like not natural. So I'm going to make it smaller like this. Okay, fine. Now I'm going to go out of my graph editor. So all I need to do is click on this graph editor. I will close this. So click on the graph editor, and we are back to our keyframes. All right. And now imagine that I would like to create the bounce which is going to be the same bounce as before. Because normally the bounce would be smaller and smaller and smaller, and eventually the ball would stop. But right now I want to show you how you can create this bounce one more time. So again, I will hold shift and I will go 1, 2, 3, 4, like 40 frames, and I am going to click the keyframe, and again I am going to I do not need, but I am going to highlight all of the keyframes. I will click on the graph editor, and I am going to click on this keyframe, and I am going to get the handle. Okay, and I didn't need to hold Alt, but sometimes it is going to happen that I am going to drag this like this, even without Alt or Option, and they are going to be connected. So sometimes they are going to be connected like so. In that case, you would go back and try this with Alt or without. It's like if one doesn't work, go with another. And I am going to do the same animation as before, so approximately something like this. Okay, and now what I can do is again go out of my graph editor, and I can play this. I am going to zoom out, and I am going to have a bounce like this. And if I want, I can again go 1, 2, 3, 4, create a keyframe, zoom in a little bit maybe, and you do not need to highlight all of them. And now I am going to do it one more time, like this and like this. Okay, and now what I want to do is if you want to create a new keyframe and create a bounce like this, you do not need to go out of your graph editor. You can stay in your graph editor and you can move again 40 frames. So I'm going to hit shift and go with page down 1, 2, 3, 4, 40 frames, and with my control or probably command on the Mac, I am going to click like so. So if I hit control, I am going to have a pen like this. I'm going to have the pen when I'm on this line, and I'm going to click. And this is going to create a new keyframe, and I can go ahead and do it like so and like so one more time. All right. And now we have the same bounce as before. All right. So in the minute, I am going to show you how you can go ahead and create this bounce to be less and less and less. But one thing that I said at the beginning is like this is the better way, but there is like in my opinion worse way, but it can be maybe simpler for somebody. So right now what we was doing, we went from the bottom to the bottom, and we have adjusted the graph editor. But what I can do is go only 20 frames and move this up somewhere, it's up to you, and then go 20 frames, and actually I'm going to copy this one. So right now what I did is I created this additional keyframe in here, and like so. And now I can go ahead, maybe highlight this, go to my graph editor, and zoom in a little bit. And right now I would need to, okay, you can see that right now they were connected. So I will go back and I will drag this handle with my Alt, like so. And I would adjust this one a little bit maybe if I want. And then I would adjust this one. Okay, so this way is something that I never do, but there are reasons why you would maybe want to do it this way. Okay, imagine that between this animation is not going to be like the 40 frames, but maybe 80. So I will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 more, put it in here, and I want to put this to the middle. So we have like 40 frames to go up and 40 frames to go down. Okay, and now you can see that we have some weird movement because there is something weird, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to highlight them. I will go inside the graph editor, and now you can see that we have something like this. But now what I can do is adjust this one a little bit. For example, up to here, this 200. Make the same thing with this one. So also put it to the 200, like so. And now I can drag this down, and I can go ahead and make this one and this one like so. And this is like if you want to have an animation when your ball is going to stay up longer, and as usual, it would be hard to create it like this. So right now we can have something like this. It's like it's almost staying in there. And if you don't want the ball, I will make this little less, like so. If you don't want your ball to actually stop in here, because it actually stopped, you can go ahead and make it maybe like so. So now it is always going to be moving. Okay, so, and maybe now what I can do is move this keyframe in here like so and make it like so. And in this case, it is going to fall down much faster. Okay, so something like this. Tush. Okay, so, but this is just something that I wanted to show you, and I'm going to delete this because this is not the way how I like to work, and I don't think that this is the good way. So I am just going to delete that one. All right. So now what I want to show you is how you can create an animation which is slowly going, which is going to bounce less and less and less. All right, so I can go ahead and try to remake this in this one. So we have started our journey up in here, and we went to the bottom, and it was like 20 frames. 1, 2. So the next round, if we want to make it less bouncing, I wouldn't go with 40, but I would go maybe with, this is approximately maybe with 36. So I'm going to move all of these keyframes like 1, 2, 3, 4 frames. Okay, so right now there is not going to be 40 frames in between, but only 36 or 35. And then from this one to this one, I would only want to have maybe 30. So I would go 1, 2, 3, and I would move all of them like so. And then from this one to this one, I want maybe only 25, 26. It's like these numbers are arbitrary, but you want to go less and less and less, because if the bounce is going to not go as high, there is no as much movement, so it's normal that it is going to happen in the less time. Hopefully makes sense. So this was 30, so I can go 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back. And I can do it like so. And next one I can do in the 20, so I can go 1, 2, or I can go with 18, so I can go to back and do it like so. Okay. And now I will go to my graph editor, and my animation, you can see that it is not only there is less space, but it is also smaller every time. And this happened by default because by default, if I drag this, everything is going to be bigger, and if I drag this, everything is going to be smaller. Okay, I will go back. But essentially, this is what you want to do. You want to make the second one a little bit smaller, and the next one even smaller, like so. And the next one even smaller. And I can zoom in a little bit, like so I can see this better. And I can make this to be like so and like so even smaller. And this last one is 20, I guess. No, 18. So for example, right now, if I want to have one more bounce, I can go with 10. So I will go to the 10 or maybe 12. I'm with my control going to create a keyframe, and I'm going to drag this handle like so, and this one like so, and it is a really small bounce. All right, and now what we have is we have something like this. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, I think that this looks pretty good. And now a few more things. One of them is you can always go ahead, highlight all of them, and with Alt or Option on the Mac, I guess, you can stretch it like so. I don't think that this animation is going to look good because it is too slow, but you can do this. Or of course you can go to the left side like so, like this. And also one more thing that you can do is right now we have animated only the Y position, but you can go ahead and animate also the X position. So if I want this bounce to go from left to the right, I am free to make a keyframe on the X, move it to the left like so, and somewhere in here I can move X like this, and now I'm going to have an animation like so. Bam, 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 like this. Alright, so this is it, but I'm going to go with you and create this bounce one more time inside the graph editor. So let me get rid of the X position keyframe, and I'm going to move it back to the center approximately. All right, and let me get rid of all of these keyframes. All right, so one more thing is that if I would try to start like this, and I would create Y position keyframe, and then I would go to frame 40, and I would create a keyframe, and I would easy ease them. And the thing is that unless you easy ease your keyframes, you are not going to have the handles. So if I hit F9, I am going to have these handles. But if I try to make it like so and like so, this bounce is going to be almost nothing, because you can see that we have like 8 to 6, 8 to 5, and so on. So this is not the way how I start my animation, because I would have to drag it like so, and this like so, and it is still almost nothing. And so this is not the way how you or I would start this animation. So I am basically going to delete this one, and the first one, with Control I will make it normal keyframe again. I will make this to go up like this. I will go 20 frames, and I'm going to put this down. Okay, I will click F9 so they are easy eased, and I can go to my graph editor. I can zoom in a little bit, and now we have the animation like this. I am going to adjust this one like so, and now what I can do is go maybe, actually this first one I will move this to be 25 frames, okay, and the next one is going to be 40, because if I have 25, it means that half of the animation is 25 and the whole bounce would be 50. So the next bounce I won't have 40, so I will go 1, 2, 3, 4. I am going to click with my control and I am going to animate it like so. And maybe a little bit more. And there is like no rule or specific rule how much the first bounce should be and the second bounce and so on, because it's like every ball is different. If you have a bowling ball or tennis ball or football ball, they are not going to be bouncing the same way. The bowling ball is barely going to bounce. So this is optional, and the best way is what in your taste looks good. It's like how you should do it. So this is the first bounce. The next one is going to be maybe 30. So 1, 2, 3, and maybe 33. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to click with my control in here, and I'm going to get the handle. And now you could see that even though I clicked there without Alt, it moved both of the handles. So I will go back, and every time something like this happens, in that case, hold Alt and move it with the Alt. Alright, so I'm going to do it maybe like so. And remember, this handle and this handle should be the same length, okay? But this one and this one, they don't need to be, or they even shouldn't be, because this is the handle for this bounce. And you can see that I am explaining, but I am not really I am not really doing it this way, because this one is much longer than this one. So I will make this longer like so. So this is like, you do not need to follow these rules, but if you want to have a beautiful bounce, this is what is going to help you. And we want this angle to be the same. Okay, so this handle and this handle are approximately the same. Now I will go, and I can see that the bounce, the first was in here, the second, I will make it a little bit less, like so. Now I will go maybe 25 frames, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like this. And I am going to do it like so. Again, I will have to go with Alt, like this, and like this. Okay, now I was 25, I will go with maybe 17. And again, probably I will have to go with Alt, yes, and like this. Okay, and I was 17, so now I will go maybe 11, and this is going to be probably the last bounce. I am going to zoom in a little bit, like so, and I will adjust this a little bit, and I am going to do the last one like this and like this. Alright, I'm going to zoom out, and maybe if you are going to draw some like from the mathematics, like some line which is going to touch these ones, maybe there is some like I do not want to say words like this, but logarithmic function which this should be following or something like that. But again, it's like, it's up to you whether the bounce looks good or not in your taste. So I can see that my bounce, I should make this one really smaller, and this one also, like this. Okay, I'm going to play it one more time. Bum, bum, like so. And I can go ahead and make even this smaller. I can make this one bigger a little bit. So this is right now up to you. to play with this and to adjust it as you want. Alright, and as I said before, you can go ahead and maybe stretch this down with Alt, like so, and now it would, but there is still like this, I have bounce, and this bounce is very similar to the previous one, so I am going to make this one smaller a little bit, like so. Okay, but I think that you get the point. And this is not like everything about the ball bounce, because there is also the thing that if you want to make this even more beautiful, when the ball is going down faster, what you could do is go to the scale and separate dimension or constraint proportion on the scale and create the keyframe on the scale, and then go like 2 frames and adjust the scale like this, and then go back to the normal one, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, so the ball may be a little bit stretched while it is falling down. And it can also be stretched when it is going to hit the ground. It can be stretched like this, okay? But I am not going to show you this stretch in this video, maybe in another. But the thing is that right now it would be difficult for me to create, for example, the bottom stretch, because I have my anchor point in the middle. And if I would like to create the stretches, I would make the anchor point to the bottom. But yeah, if you are interested and you are going to request a tutorial with ball bounce and stretches, put that to the comment, and if there is going to be like more people interested, I can show it. But I think that this is the pretty basic stuff. So hopefully you learned something. If you have any questions, suggestions, or anything, hit them to the comments. If you like this video, hit the like. Please share it with somebody who may find this interesting. And yeah, consider to subscribe, and I am going to see you in the more videos. Hopefully I am going to do them more right now when is the quarantine everywhere in the world. So yeah, take care, goodbye.